and you should see that it's recording.
Yep.
So I'm going to pause it.
Okay. Admit all. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. We'll give everyone a chance to join and connect. We've got a minute or two yet to go.
Yeah. Welcome, welcome all. You should be able to see on your screen the presentation slides. And we will be, I see more people joining. We're admitting them as they join.
Yeah. Great.
Okay. And just so you all know, this presentation will be recorded so that if you want to refer back to it at a later date, it'll be available as well. I believe it's posted to our YouTube page.
Yeah. We've got 1 o'clock now. Maybe we'll wait another minute, see if we get any other participants. Make sure everybody's connecting to audio and such so they can hear us okay. And you're welcome to turn your cameras on. We love to see you. The slides itself will not be shared, but the video will be posted to the UCF Global YouTube channel. There is also quite an extensive informational section on CPT posted to the UCF Global website, and there is a informational packet, CPT information packet, found on the UCF Global website as well. This workshop supplements the information that is already available on the UCF Global website. Right, we've got a couple people still joining, connecting to audio, so we'll let them have a moment to connect. Great, we've got a good turnout so far today. There's Nicole joining us. Yay! Welcome, Nicole. Feel free to turn your cameras on. We love to see you. Make faces at us, all that kind of stuff. All right, we've got 1:02. Let's go ahead and get started because we certainly want to respect your time for those of us, for those of you who have joined us on time today. Good afternoon. This is the Curricular Practical Training workshop, otherwise known as CPT. It's being hosted by UCF Global's International Student and Scholar Services Department, otherwise known as ISSS. And we'll go to next slide. Hosting it today will be specifically 2 of us from our ISSS team. My name is Sherry, and I'm there sort of second to the left there, and I'm joined by one of my colleagues.
Thanks, Sherry. Hey, all. My name is Dan Mallon. I'm one of the immigration advisors here at ISSS, UCF Global. I'm so pleased to be talking to you all about this wonderful, exciting topic of curricular practical training today. Can't wait to get into it.
Yeah.
And Nicole, we should also give a shout out. Go ahead, Nicole.
Hi all, yeah, I'm Nicole Stelter. Obviously, Dan and Sherry are going to be taking over introducing the CPT to you today. But of course, you might see my name as well when you're submitting your CPT application.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Nicole. So thank you all for joining us. We're happy to have you here. What we'll do is we'll go through the material, which will probably answer a lot of the questions that you have. And then the material is meant to be rather concise. And then at the end, we've left lots of room for and time for questions and answers and such. So if you'll hold your questions to the end, there'll be plenty of time to ask questions. You can either ask them in the chat at the end, or we'll open that up. You can turn your mics on and ask questions and such then. But it's easier because it's hard for us to sort of get through the material and answer the questions throughout the program when we're going through the chat. So just keep that in mind, jot down your questions, but keep in mind, we'll probably answer a lot of them during the presentation itself. Alrighty, next slide. So F1 students do have several off-campus employment options while they're here maintaining their status. So students that are in F1 status are only permitted to work off-campus if they have proper employment authorization. That's very, very important. Off-campus employment does require proper employment authorization in advance before you can begin any off-campus employment. So those types of off-campus employment authorization would be CPT, Curricular Practical Training, which is what we're talking about today, OPT, Optional Practical Training, which is what our students usually do after graduation. That's called post-completion OPT. And we have a separate workshop that Nicole and Gisela will be leading later on in the semester. And then severe economic hardship, which is a separate category. But those all require prior authorization before you can work off campus. Next slide. So CPT, Curricular Practical Training, is what we're going to focus on today. If you have questions about the other types, those will not be discussed during today's workshop. So CPT, it's really important to remember that employment on CPT has to be an integral part of your established curriculum. That means that it has to be, it's pretty much, when you look at it, it has to be like work study or an internship that's offered by an employer through an agreement with the school. Now, that doesn't mean that there has to be like a written partnership between the employer and the school, but by the employer offering you employment on CPT, they're agreeing to certain things. They're agreeing to abide by the regulations governing CPT. CPT is curricular. That means it has to be tied to course enrollment and an academic program. So that's why our students who are enrolled in CPT have to be enrolled in an internship class, okay? Because it has to be curricular. It has to be part of your academic program. So what is CPT? It's a really good question. CPT is granted for off-campus employment. So it's very different from on-campus employment. CPT is always for off-campus employment. CPT is per semester. So if you can do CPT for fall, for spring, and for summer. Keep that in mind for summer as well. Even if you're going to be doing CPT for the same employer from one semester to the next, let's say you had CPT in the summer and you're going to work for the same employer in the fall, you need to submit a brand new CPT application for fall. If you're going to work for an employer in fall and you're going to continue with that same employer for spring, spring requires a brand new CPT application and a brand new enrollment in an internship class for each semester. So every semester is very separate. So while you're enrolled while you have a CPT approval, you also have to maintain full-time enrollment during fall and spring. So for instance, if you're a bachelor's degree student and you require 12 credits per semester, even if you're doing CPT that semester, you still have to be enrolled in 12 credits that semester. If you're a master's degree student and you have 9 credits to maintain full-time status, you still have to be enrolled in a minimum of 9 credits for fall and spring. So even if you're doing CPT, you still have to maintain full-time status. PhD students, it depends on where you are in your program, whether the number of credits that you need. So PhD students have a little bit of flexibility there, depending on where they're at in their program. Now for summer is a little bit different, because if you're graduating in summer, then you do have to be full-time enrollment. However, if summer is not your last semester and you're only doing CPT, then you don't need to have any other credits besides your internship class that you're taking for CPT. So I know we're in fall now, so we're not really having to worry about summer, but just keep that in mind if you're, if you're looking for CPT to continue, maybe for spring or for summer. If you're looking for a CPT internship for next summer and it's not your last semester, you don't have to take any other classes next summer unless you're graduating. You can just take the internship class. Keep in mind, CPT can either be paid or unpaid. So you can have a paid job, paid employment internship on CPT, or unpaid on CPT. It doesn't matter. CPT can also be full-time or part-time. Now, this is what confuses students sometimes. Part-time is 20 hours a week or less. Full-time is 21 hours a week or more. So it's very different. Most people think of full-time as 40 hours a week or more. But per the CPT regulation, just for CPT, 21 hours a week or more is considered full-time. So you have to designate when you're submitting your CPT application. So you have to know up front, are you going to be doing part-time, 20 hours a week or less, or full-time, 21 hours a week or more? So you have to know that. If you're going to be doing 2 part-time jobs, so that would mean each job would be 20 hours a week or less, you can do that, but each one requires a completely separate CPT application. Okay.
Thank you, Sherry. I'm
Sure.
going to take it over from here, and this information is so important. What Sherry just outlined about the kind of the basics of CPT. Just kind of keep in mind that this information is widely available through UCF Global. It's on our website. And we're going to be making the recording of this available as well. It is on the Cpt Application Packet itself when you go to apply for CPT. So it's not that we expect you to remember all of this information right now, right away, but it is important that these are steps that you need to follow in order to protect your own visa status when you're considering off-campus work opportunities, of which we want you to have, and we want you to enjoy those opportunities and be successful. So with that said, let's talk about the eligibility requirements for Curricular Practical Training, CPT. So most importantly, you need to first be eligible to apply for CPT before you actually begin any kind of off-campus employment. So some of these eligibility requirements are that you must have been enrolled for at least 1 academic year. And 1 academic year is code for 2 major semesters. So fall and spring semester, or spring and the following fall semester in a degree seeking program, degree granting program. That is to say that if you are in a pathway program, if you're in an IEP program, taking English language studies, those are not programs that are eligible for CPT. If you're a bachelor's degree level or higher here at UCF, then you are in a degree seeking program. And after having completed 1 year in that program, you'd be eligible to apply for CPT. So if, for example, you're a freshman in your bachelor's degree program this fall, you will be eligible to apply for CPT, assuming you complete the fall and the upcoming spring semester in summer term of 2023. CPT is specific to the job that you want to apply for and that you've hopefully gotten a job offer for. So you must have a job offer in hand in order to apply for CPT. The job must be directly related to your major that is listed on your I-20. So there's a lot of information to unpack in that one little bullet point. First of all, the job is based on your major. And when we talk about your major, it is not a class that you took that you really found interesting. It is not a minor that you really like. It is the major that is showing on your I-20. So you need to think about, first of all, is your I-20 up to date? Is the major that is showing on your I-20 correct? Because some students do change majors during their program of study. If not, then you need to first update your I-20, and then you will be ready to apply for CPT at that time. And then secondly, the purpose of Curricular Practical Training, CPT, is to gain practical training in your field of study. So this cannot be, any just random job that looks really good. It is meant to further your studies and to be considered, getting that practical experience in the field. You're here as an F1 international student. Your primary purpose is to study. So the US government has set up this specific work authorization, CPT, as a way for F1 students to get that experience. But you're not here on a work visa, you're here as an international student. So your primary purpose is to study, and any kind of secondary practical training has to at least be related to your major in order to be approved while you're here as an F1 international student. That's why we say it has to be integral to your course of study. As Sherry talked about, this is the exact reason why there is a course component, either through your program of study, if it's a required internship that you must get course credit for in order to graduate with your degree, or it might be what we would call like an academically recommended internship, which is a great opportunity related to your major, and that you're still going to have to enroll in a minimum 1 credit internship course in order to be eligible to apply for CPT. So with that said, let's look at the CPT application process. So step 1, and this is the most fun step, is get that job offer. There's just nothing like getting a job offer, am I right? So once you get the job offer letter, you are ready to begin your CPT authorization process. This process, this timeline, takes place in between the day that you get that job offer letter and the day that you start your new position for that internship or for that employment. This has to happen before you start working. This cannot occur after. You cannot begin work off campus without prior authorization from our office. If there is one thing that we want you to remember from this presentation, it is that you cannot work off campus as an F1 international student without prior authorization. So when you see this slide, this is what we're talking about. These are the steps to follow, and you need to complete all of the steps, not 4 out of 5, but 5 out of 5 steps in order to be authorized to apply for, to begin your CPT employment. So you get your job offer letter, then you are going to go to global.ucf.edu and you will access the Cpt Application Packet. It is a wonderful packet. I really have to say that all of this information that you're going to hear from us today is in the packet. All of the instructions, the detailed instructions about exactly how you're going to apply for CPT can be found in this packet. It is a PDF form. I believe there are 9 pages to that packet, but I want to stress that do not be intimidated by 9 pages of text because, and I'll tell you why, the first 4 pages have a lot of the repeat instructions that we're talking about that are available on our website, but just in a very detailed and condensed form. Your section that you actually have to fill out is only 2 pages of the entire PDF form. And it's like filling out your basic information, very basic details about the CPT, job that you're going to be doing. Things like, where is the job? What's the address? How many hours a week are you going to be working? Who is your supervisor? Very basic information. We're really not asking for an essay. And then there are the latter parts of that CPT packet where you'll see on step 3, you're going to have to get some recommendations. You'll get an approval from your departmental or your academic advisor who will sign off on your CPT application packet. And if necessary, if it's an academically recommended internship, which means that it's not required for your degree, but it's still directly related to your major, you'll get as well a recommendation from Experiential Learning, and they will assist you in enrolling in their EL 1-credit internship course through their office. Once that is done, once you have completed the application packet, once you have gotten the recommended and required recommendations from your academic advisor, and if needed from Experiential Learning, you will take that complete CPT application packet along with the job offer letter that you received from your future employer, and you will email that entire packet, ideally as one combined PDF document, to intladvising@ucf.edu. And you're going to just put in your email, here's my CPT application packet, thank you so much, and I follow the instructions, and I'm also allowing myself 3 to 5 business days for processing, because if you wait until the day of your start date for your new job, you're going to have a bad time. You might not be approved in time to start, and that is not a great way to start a new and exciting internship or off-campus job. So you want to give yourself that time in order to have your CPT reviewed and processed. And I promise you, if you submit a complete CPT application packet, we will get it done as soon as humanly possible. Delays occur typically when there is missing information, or when there are mistakes that need to be corrected, or updates that first need to occur in order for us to approve you for CPT. If everything is in order, we are very fast. I think we are very proud to say that we have an unbelievable turnaround time, but we do ask that you think about making sure that you give yourself that leeway so that there are no delays on your end with your employer. 3 to 5 business days is what is recommended. CPT deadlines and dates. So we are in Fall B. So right now, if you suddenly get an amazing internship opportunity and they want you to start right away, well, we have great news for you. There is a mechanism, which is the Fall B semester, which you can still apply for recommended internships all the way through October 21st. So if you get an internship opportunity and you want to take advantage of it through the end of the fall semester, you're absolutely still eligible to do so. The reason that we have these dates up here is because CPT is curricular. It is based upon the academic calendar. The dates that you see reflect the the registration periods and the beginning and ends of academic semesters. There are courses that students enroll in order to be eligible to apply for CPT. And after a certain point, it may be so late that you're not eligible to take an internship class. That is why we have these dates up here. That is why it's important to think about, if you're applying for jobs, if you're applying for internships, how are you going to time this in order to be eligible to apply for CPT based on the relevant dates. So like I said, we're currently in Fall B. If you are thinking about the upcoming spring semester, here are the dates to keep in mind. The absolute earliest that you can ask to begin a spring 2023 CPT internship would be December 26th. December 26th, that should say December 26, 2022, excuse me, instead of 2023. We will have to update that. And that is great, because that means that students can potentially start their CPT internship 2 weeks before the start of the spring semester. I mean, how awesome is that? So there's a lot of flexibility that our office really strives to provide in order to, give great service to our international students. And all that we ask is that when you apply for CPT, make sure that you follow the instructions and submit a complete packet all at once when you send us that email. Some limitations when it comes to applying for CPT. Like we talked about, you have to have a job offer. in your field of study to apply for CPT. That's a limitation, but it's for good reason. It's to protect your F1 visa status. All of this information is to protect your status. That is what we care about. It's not the only thing we care about, but we're the ones who most care about that on campus. So you need to listen to these instructions when we talk about off-campus employment authorization. CPT is unlimited, which is amazing if you're thinking about part-time CPT. So you can use as much part-time CPT, which is anything 20 hours or less, while you're a student at UCF. However, there is a limit to the number of full-time CPT days that you can use at your degree level. And that limit is 365 days or 1 full year. You can certainly do full-time CPT, but what you need to think about is that if you have any interest at all in applying for a different type of work authorization called Optional Practical Training, or OPT, after you graduate, you need to make sure that you keep careful track of the number of full-time CPT days that you have used. If you've been working off campus full-time for a number of semesters in a row and you are close or potentially going over the limit of 365 days of full-time CPT, if you go even 1 day over, you will be ineligible to apply for post-completion OPT, which is a real shame. So we would not want you to become ineligible if that's what you want to do after you graduate. So please keep careful track of any CPT that is full-time that you engage in. And if you have any questions about that, you should check with an immigration advisor when making your long-term plans about OPT. As Sherry, I believe, mentioned at the beginning of this presentation, just because you're engaged in CPT doesn't mean that you can, for whatever reason, drop below full-time enrollment. The theme of this presentation, among others, is that you are here as a student primarily. And so your primary purpose for being at UCF is to complete your degree requirements. And any kind of, CPT that you're doing off campus is great and is nice, but it is not the most important thing compared to maintaining your full-time enrollment, which is how you're maintaining your status as an F1 student. Any CPT employment that you request and are granted must end by your program end date, or in other words, before graduation. So if you're in your final semester and you get an amazing internship and they want you to continue after you graduate, keep in mind your CPT authorization cannot go beyond your program end date on your I-20, or in other words, the date that you graduate from UCF. If you want to continue in that internship, you would have to apply for likely optional practical training, OPT, in time in advance so that you have that work authorization ready to go right after you graduate. This will be covered in the OPT workshop, but we always encourage students when they are thinking about applying for OPT to apply early as they are eligible, which is 90 days before they graduate. And if you are considering working part-time on campus, many students work, many grad students in particular work on campus, and then are considering full-time CPT. That is a conversation that we can have that may be possible, but that is not a guarantee. And so that is an exception that would have to be requested in order to do both part-time on-campus employment, which, as you know, does not require any sort of specific approval from our office, and full-time CPT employment, which absolutely does need approval from our office. Part-time on-campus employment and part-time CPT would be okay, but full-time CPT would require an exception. And just, we have this slide thrown up here that if any students are going to do CPT that is not required for the degree, but would be considered academically recommended, they would be working with experiential learning to enroll in the 1-credit internship course. There is the website and information for the experiential learning office here on campus. They're right across Memory Mall from us. And don't worry about jotting down this information. It is all there, as I said earlier, in the Cpt Application Packet. So it's very easy to find. It's right there in the instructions. Sherry, I think that brings us pretty much to the end of the structured part of the kind of broad overview of the CPT application process. One that, is really a lot of fun. I really do enjoy seeing all of the cool internship opportunities that our international students get here on campus. But I think if there are any questions, you and I are happy to address those.
Yes, there are a couple questions that were in the chat. Can I work full-time CPT while maintaining full-time class enrollment? That is required. So whenever you have any CPT, maintaining full-time class enrollment is required. So if you are planning to request full-time CPT, yes, you do have to have full-time enrollment. So whether you're a bachelor's degree student requiring 12 credits, a master's degree student requiring 9 credits, a PhD student requiring however many credits, 3 credits if you pass candidacy, or 9 credits if you're still in your coursework, however many credits you do need to maintain full-time class enrollment, even if you have full-time CPT. So someone asked, they're a PhD student who just started in fall of 2022. If they have a CPT job offer, can they start during the winter semester, which I'm guessing they're looking at spring? Again, as Dan talked about on the eligibility requirements, you have to have completed 1 academic year to be at that degree level in order to be eligible for CPT. So if you're a PhD student who just started your PhD in fall of 2022, you have to complete a fall and a spring semester before you're eligible for CPT. So that would mean if you started your PhD in fall 2022, you would have to complete fall of 2022, spring of 2023, and you would not be eligible for CPT until summer of 2023 for CPT.
Great. I see that last question, maybe that was a direct one to you. I didn't see that, but I see one from Mohammed who asks, are full-time CPT days less than 365 days deducted from OPT later on? Mohammed, do not worry, no. So if you, for example, do 360 days of full-time CPT, you still get a full year of post-completion OPT. So it is very much an either or proposition. As long as you stay below that full-time CPT limit, you are eligible for 1 full year of OPT. If you go even 1 day over your full-time CPT limit, you become ineligible for OPT. So they are not deducted from post-completion OPT, like maybe you're thinking of pre-completion OPT, and that is not something that we're going to get into on this Q&A session for CPT, but that's a good question.
Yeah, there are a couple questions about registering for the internship class. Just keep in mind, every CPT requires an internship class, regardless of the semester. If it's fall, if it's spring, if it's summer, it requires an internship class. Some majors have their own internship class and some don't. So if your major has its own internship class, you'll register for that. If your major does not, you'll have to register for the internship class through experiential learning. So whether you do CPT in fall, spring, or summer, you will need an internship class. Whether you register for CPT during the beginning of the semester or during the B, like fall B or spring B or summer B, you will still need an internship class. Even if it's after that drop deadline, they have a special allowance for students that are registering for that internship class during the B session. So even if you're registering for the internship before the deadline of October 21st, you can register for that experiential learning 1-credit internship class. You don't actually register for it. Experiential learning faculty will register you for it.
Yeah, and for course credit, you need to be earning at least 1 credit in that course.
And PhD students are not exempt from that. No matter if you're a bachelor's, master's, or PhD, you all have to register for an internship credit class for CPT.
All right, Santiago asked if I can get an internship halfway through the semester, can I still be enrolled into the internship 1-credit course, even if the add drop deadline has already passed? Could you explain this again, please? Yes. So the reason that this is possible, and this is quite amazing, is experiential learning has the ability to have a second round of enrollment, basically a fall B session for their 1-credit internship class. And so by meeting with them, they would enroll you directly in that course. So yes, that would be possible, Santiago, even past the add drop deadline. You can refer back to the dates for the Cpt application deadlines that can be found right on the Cpt application packet.
Yeah, Jorge asked a very good question, and this is a good point to bring up. 2 part-time CPTs in summer count as 1 full-time. It doesn't matter which semester, but that's true. If you do 2 part-time CPTs during the semester, it's going to count as a full-time. So whether it be fall, if you do 2 part-time CPTs in fall, or 2 part-time CPTs in spring, or 2 part-time CPTs in summer, that's going to count as a full-time CPT. So that's going to count toward your full-time CPT, toward your 365 days of full-time CPT. So keep that in mind. Students sometimes think, oh, I'll just do all of these part-time CPTs. I'll do several during the same semesters, but keep in mind, if you do 2 part-time CPTs during the same semester, that will count as a full-time.
Yeah, so just to really
question.
spell that out, I think at one point I had said that part-time CPT is unlimited, and to really clarify that that means as long as you're doing 1 at a time.
Yeah, exactly. 1 at a time is a good way to put it.
I see that up above, Saba asked a question about the internship course, which we addressed, but then below wrote, can we only get jobs that are designated as quote unquote internships? No, I mean, what we're talking about is practical training at the end of the day. So the offer does not have to say that the title of the position is an intern. It can be any position as long as it's related to your degree. That'll be valid for CPT. So it does not need to be an internship. We throw around the term internship course, internships a lot. Sometimes those terms get used interchangeably, but think practical training, off-campus employment when we're talking about CPT. All right, you answered Jorge. Thank you, Nicole, for addressing that.
Yeah,
CPT
thanks,
question.
Nicole. Yeah, remember, we're just discussing CPT during this workshop. There'll be a separate one for OPT.
Okay, Santiago, I'm reading your question. Okay, many of them do not have stated application dates. It's more like you send in your information, you wait. Yeah, of course, like most jobs, you find out when you're hired. What if you get selected after the deadline to apply for CPT has already passed? So that happens sometimes, Santiago, where the dates don't line up perfectly. But what I would say is that usually when there's a gap between when one deadline passed and when the next eligibility window opens, it's typically not more than a few weeks at most. If there is a specific case that you want to discuss, I would encourage you to email our office at intladvising@ucf.edu, and we can certainly discuss it. But we really do strive to try to be as flexible as possible. You got to understand that these dates are driven by the academic calendar, and when courses are offered, course enrollment is non-negotiable when it comes to Cpt authorization. So it may mean that you need to tell your employer in some cases, I can start, but as soon as I'm eligible, which will be maybe in, however many days or a few weeks at most. I would hope that if the employer took the time to read your application, interview you, give you an offer, that they would be willing to wait a little bit, just a few weeks at most, in order for you to start working.
Yeah. And Nami asks, is there any workshop that helps us during the applying process? Applying for CPT, I mean, if you go to the UCF Global site and you look at the CPT packet, I mean, really, as Dan had mentioned, the first 4 pages are step-by-step instructions. And the part that you have to fill out, it's just 2 pages that, I mean, I have it right here. It's easy peasy lemon squeezy. The pages that the student fills out is your UCF ID, your name, your mailing address, your phone number. Are you working on campus? You know, your degree level, your major. Are you applying for part-time or full-time CPT? Your requested start date, your number of hours per week, you know, your employer name, the address, your job title, describe your job duties, your supervisor's name, title, phone number. You know, it's that kind, that's what you're providing. So those are pretty simple questions. And then there's, you know, you get your academic advisor's recommendation or your internship advisor's recommendation if your department has an internship advisor. So it's a very simple application, and literally it has step-by-step instructions. It takes you through step 1, step 2, get your job offer. Step 3, complete the application. Step 4, meet with your academic advisor, internship coordinator. It really walks you through, and it has a checklist of what to do. If you have any questions, you can always email our office. It's right there on the screen, the intladvising@ucf.edu. But I think if you take a look at the CPT packet and the application, I think you'll really, if you take a look at it, you'll see how simple the application is. The chart with the deadlines is right there in the packet as well.
100% agree. Santiago, I realized I missed part 2 of your question. So you asked, do I need to ask the employer for a letter that then has to be used to fill the CPT application? Yes. We need some kind of proof of employment, and typically that is the job offer letter. There is a extremely helpful template on the last page of the CPT application packet that just kind of shows what is the ideal job offer letter in terms of the information that we need to verify. So if there is no formal job offer letter and you want to use that template to say, hey, you know, I need some kind of letter in order to be authorized to work for you through CPT, can you please fill in this template with the relevant job details? That would certainly be acceptable as well.
Yeah.
So that's
page 9 of the CPT packet is a job offer letter template that you can share with the employer. Some employers might be smaller companies and they don't really have a formal job offer letter. So this gives them the information that we would be looking for, because it's not just us making this up that we want this information. This is the information that we need, that we have to enter into your CVIS record for the US federal government. So we're not just asking this information because we're nosy and we want to know. We have to enter this information into your CVIS record for reporting purposes. And some of this information then prints on your Form I-20, but it goes into your immigration record and stays there forever. So this letter gives them an idea of the information that we need. So you can, it's on the CPT packet, you can actually give it to your prospective employer so they can see the information that we need. Someone asked about the earliest they can apply for summer 2023. Unfortunately, those dates have not been posted yet. But as soon as those dates are posted, you will find those on the UCF Global site for the CPT section. As soon as we get them, we have our marketing department post them on the site.
And Benjamin and Malcolm, another way to think of that, that Sherry's exactly right. But when we talk about the academic calendar is kind of guiding the CPT process, you could also think of it as, when does registration open for summer 2023? that's typically around when we start to receive CPT applications, because if you think about it, you need to get enrolled in a CPT internship course in order to be eligible to apply for CPT. So you wouldn't be able to apply formally before you're actually enrolled in that internship course. The enrollment is one of the things that we're checking. Now, if you have a job offer that you want to kind of just spot check with an immigration advisor and quickly say, hey, does this look like I'll be eligible? Certainly, you can definitely reach out to us and we'll be happy to assist you. But the actual formal applications usually don't start rolling in until after registration begins for that semester or term.
And something you can look at ahead of time, like Dan had touched on, is make sure that your current major is the major that shows on your Form I-20, because oftentimes one of the things we send CPT applications back to students for is they send us a job that has nothing to do with the major that's listed in their CVIS record. And when we contact them, they say, oh, I changed my major a year ago. And they might have changed it through the UCF system, but they never notified UCF Global that they changed their major. And there's a process for that through the MyINTL portal. So you need to, if you've changed your major through MyUCF, you also have to change it through MyINTL so that it comes to our office and we can update your CVIS record, which then updates your Form I-20. So if you're already thinking ahead and you know you've changed your major, but you didn't let our office know, take care of that step now so that it doesn't delay your CPT application process when you get to that step. Because literally we have had students submit a CPT application and it turns out they changed their major a year or two ago and they never let us know. And we cannot approve a CPT application if you've changed your major and you've not updated us to update your CVIS record. So that's really important.
Excellent. I got a direct message. I'll just address that from Aditya, who asks, could you please let me know the earliest date by which I can apply for CPT, since I missed that part. So what I would say, Aditya, is go to the CPT application packet itself, which is available at global.ucf.edu. And on page 2 is the entire breakdown of application dates and deadlines. So you can kind of zero in on when you're thinking about applying for CPT and to see what the deadlines are. Currently, we are in the fall B term, and the last date to apply for a recommended internship is October 21st. So if you have a job that you want to do for CPT this fall, the deadline is effectively October 21st for you. You're welcome. And I hope we didn't miss any questions. That sometimes can happen. I'm going back.
If someone asked what if they add a minor? So even though a minor does not appear on your I-20, you should still let us know so that we can add it to your CVIS record. So I'm putting a link in the chat now. So in the section marked on the UCF Global for change of major, you also use that same link to add a minor in the little remarks section. You just add a remark that I added a minor, because we will add that to your CVIS record. Like I said, it will not print on your Form I-20, but it will still appear on your CVIS record. So we see it in your CVIS record, and it's always good to have your CVIS record, you know, correct and up to date and such, even though it doesn't print on your I-20. And remember, CPT must be related to your major. It cannot be related to your minor. It has to be directly related to your major, but you always want your CVIS record to be correct and up to date. Yeah. Do we have any other questions? Yeah, so Santiago has, when it says recommended internship.
Yeah.
Did we talk about that?
A little bit. I can address it. So
yeah.
Specifically, when it says recommended internship, is that like an optional internship because it also says required internship, but I believe this depends on the major, as you said. So yes, what we mean is in terms of your degree program, is it a requirement? Some degree programs, and I'll just pick one off the top of my head, like if you're in hospitality, they have certain requirements that they must meet in order to graduate. They need to do X amount of hours working in the field in order to get their degree. A lot of majors don't have that kind of a requirement. So if it is required, the academic advisor themselves will note that it's required, and they will help you and ensure that you're enrolled in their own departments or that program's equivalent internship course. The vast majority of majors do not have a requirement like that, and so they will simply review the application packet and the offer letter and confirm that it's related to your major. And they will say that it's recommended, that they recommend that you do this. And then at that point, you will be on to experiential learning to enroll in the 1-credit experiential learning internship course, which is the kind of catch-all course for all other majors that don't have that kind of work experience requirement.
And keep an eye on Experiential Learning site, because they also run job fairs, both virtual, and they're probably good. And they've started to do the in-person ones, haven't they, Nicole? Yeah. So Experiential Learning is a really great resource for finding jobs, not only on CPT, but on OPT and also after graduation. So Experiential Learning is a really great resource to have there in your pocket, because they assist with resume writing, interview skills, dressing for interviews, networking. So Experiential Learning, if you're not familiar with the services they offer, it's really good to familiarize yourselves with what they can offer you.
Yeah, we have a great working partnership with them.
Yes.
You'll often see our two offices working together or at the same event. So, yep, can't recommend them more highly. Malcolm, can I apply for a CPT related to my minor major? No, you cannot. Not for your minor. Your major, yes. Your minor, absolutely do not do that. So any practical training that you want to engage in must be directly related to your major.
Your major.
Yep, like in Catch-22. I don't know if anyone understands that reference. Okay, so will the internship course be registered through my UCF or UCF Global website? That
My
is
UCF.
something. Yeah, so
yeah, it's a regular course. It'll show up in your enrollment summary. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Oh, was the career fair supposed to be during the hurricane?
oh,
Yeah, so just so everybody hears that, and with the recording, the career fair for fall 2022 was supposed to happen the week of the hurricane. Unfortunately, that has been delayed and has been moved. They don't know the dates yet, but it will be changed to sometime, I believe, in November. Check back into the Career Services website to find out for the new career fair dates and deadlines.
we certainly hope all of you did okay during the storm. Okay. Yes. Yes, Santiago, the answer is yes. Is the career fair a good place to find internships? 100%, could not recommend it more. Yes, it is. You should go. You should feel confident. And if you ever talk to a future employer that asks you, are you going to be able to work for me? You can confidently say, I have my international office, UCF Global, that assists international students with getting work authorization. So please feel free to take advantage of those internship fairs and career fairs. Sherry, you want to field this last one right here?
Ooh.
The OPT course.
Where did it go? The OPT course will be for the whole semester. I don't understand. Nami, the OPT course will be for the whole semester. So there will be an
CPT?
OPT.
I think, are you
Yeah,
talking
that's
about the
CPT.
web course, right? The web course and application. You can log into the web course at any point in time, right, throughout the semester. I think that's what Nami's asking.
Yeah. Nami,
Nami,
feel free to
unmute.
clarify. If you meant your CPT, like an internship course, that will be for the whole semester. Like if you're enrolled in a 1 credit internship
Hello?
course.
Yeah. So the
Hello?
CPT, yes.
Hello, yeah, I meant the internship course. So is it gonna be like a regular course for the whole semester, or will be just like we can go and like take the course and finish, or how this works? The internship course.
Yes, it'll be for the semester. The specifics of the kind of requirements for the internship course depend on the course itself. The experiential learning, they would talk to you about the actual course requirements. So feel free to talk to them directly. I'm actually not sure exactly what each assignment might entail. But yes, it would show on your course enrollment for if it's the fall 2022 semester, it would be along with your other courses that you're enrolled in. It would make up your enrollment.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yes, and it's whether you enroll in a CPT course at the beginning of the semester or during the mid-semester, it's still the 1 credit course. And experiential learning would have all of the requirements and all of the specifics on the course because it's actually run through experiential learning. We have another minute or two if anyone has any other questions for us on CPT. Okay. Again, if you do have any other questions, feel free to email our main office email, the intladvising@ucf.edu. We thank you all for joining us. We can't stress enough the importance of making sure that you submit your complete application with job offer letter to our office and you receive your I-20 with the CPT approval from us before you begin working. That's of utmost importance. Our words of wisdom for the day. Thank you for joining us. It was great to have you all here. We had a great turnout. Any last words of wisdom, Dan?
Listen to Sherry. She's 100% right. That's good advice.
Thank you, guys. We hope to see you again soon. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
You're welcome.
And we will just hang out. Any stragglers or any last minute questions?
Any last moment question?
Hello, Malcolm. Do you have any other questions? Malcolm, are you there? We have lost Malcolm. Okay, I'm going to
Malcolm?
stop recording. Oops. Okay, there we go. I'm going to stop recording. Recording
Okay.
stop. Are you sure you want to stop recording to the cloud? Yes. Right?
Jizz. What was that?
I'll come over. That was me. I'll come over, Dan.
Okay. Good job, Sherry.
We're done. Yeah, we did great. We had like what, 36 people?
I have no idea. Welcome.
I think
Yeah.
besides us, we had like 36.
Click more.
All right, I'm gonna leave.
Stop recording.
You stop share first.
Stop share.
No. Go ahead and hit the stop button. Oh, cancel. Pause.
What's that? You want me to pause it instead?
Yeah.